Help me reach 1,000 subscribers. Subscribe now, because the stories that unfold here are the ones you'll remember long after they end. What happened next is something no one could have predicted. I never imagined that a single moment could flip my entire life upside down. My name is Ryan, and for 6 years, my wife Emily was everything to me. We built a life together, dreams, memories, routines that felt safe and unbreakable. Or so I believed. That illusion vanished the second she handed me a thick envelope. Her eyes were chillingly calm, almost distant. Divorce papers. I held them quietly, feeling every line. Every stamp hit me like a slow, suffocating weight. I searched her face for regret, doubt, anything that could explain this sudden coldness. But she remained still, unfazed. "Sign when you're ready," she whispered, barely moving her lips. Before I could even form a word, her friend Vanessa stepped forward, a smug smile stretching across her face. "Don't ask why," she said, like she was in on a joke I wasn't supposed to hear. The arrogance in her tone stung deeper than the papers themselves. But instead of exploding, breaking down, or demanding answers like they expected, I smiled. Not the kind of smile that hides pain. The kind that comes when something inside you finally clicks into place. Emily's expression shifted, just slightly but enough. Vanessa's smirk faltered for the briefest moment. That tiny crack told me everything I needed to know. Something about my reaction unsettled them. And right then, I realized the power in the room was slowly turning toward me. For years, I had tried to keep our marriage steady, planning dates, listening, compromising, trying to be the man she needed. But love couldn't shield me from the quiet resentments, the dismissive comments, the subtle manipulations. Standing in front of them now, an unfamiliar calm settled over me. This wasn't the end of my story. It was the moment where the narrative shifted. I placed the divorce papers gently on the table, letting my fingers slide along the edge. Emily's eyes followed every movement, watching for signs that I was breaking. She expected fear, anger, desperation. But none of that showed. Serenity is powerful when chaos is expected. Vanessa cleared her throat, her confidence suddenly thinner. "Are you okay?" she asked, pretending to care. "I'm much better than okay," I replied quietly. "I'm exactly where I need to be." That's when it happened. Emily flinched. Barely, but enough for me to see the truth. She wasn't prepared for me to stand tall. She wasn't ready for me to choose myself. A strange, quiet satisfaction washed over me. Not because I wanted revenge, but because I finally felt free. Years of being ignored, belittled, and pushed aside suddenly aligned into one clear realization. I deserved more. Emily opened her mouth, maybe to justify herself, but Vanessa quickly reached out to stop her. "Maybe he's right," she murmured, her uncertainty growing. "Maybe this isn't about anger at all. Maybe it's about truth." Silence tightened around us. I let it sit, let it grow uncomfortable. Sometimes silence says what words cannot. For the first time, I felt like I was standing in my own story, not the one they tried to control. These papers weren't a loss. They were a choice. A door I hadn't noticed before was suddenly wide open. Emily's confidence began to crumble. Vanessa, once smirking with pride, now avoided my eyes. They both felt the shift. I picked up the papers once more, then set them down carefully. "This isn't about me," I said softly. "It's about the truth we've ignored for years while pretending everything was fine." My words weren't an attack. They were a reflection of every lie, every manipulation, every silent dismissal they thought I hadn't seen. Emily's voice cracked. "Ryan, I didn't think you would." She stopped, unable to finish the sentence. I didn't help her. Let her sit with her own unfinished thought, the kind of silence that reveals more than explanations ever could. Vanessa looked like she wanted to speak, but even she could sense the balance had shifted out of her hands. I had taken control simply by refusing to break. I walked toward the door slowly, shoulders steady, steps firm. I paused, glancing back at them one last time. "I hope one day you understand what you had," I said calmly, "and why it's gone." I don't need these papers to leave. I'm already free. Emily's eyes widened, the realization hitting her harder than any argument ever could. Vanessa let out a quiet breath, almost like guilt, or fear, had finally reached her. The room fell into a heavy silence, one final perfect moment. I smiled again. Not because I won, not because I wanted them to hurt, but because for the first time in years, I chose myself. I walked out knowing the story didn't end because they decided it would. It ended because I walked away with my dignity, my clarity, and my freedom. And the last thing I saw before closing the door was Emily staring at me, finally understanding what my smile truly meant.